Good morning! We are going to be reading one of my favorite books about one of my favorite artists today, and that is The Radiant Child, which is a book about Jean-Michel Basquiat. The Radiant Child, the story of young artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. Somewhere in Brooklyn, between hearts that thump, double Dutch and hopscotch, and salty mouths that slurp sweet ice, a little boy dreams of being a famous artist. In his house, you can tell a serious artist dwells. As he sits at a table with pencils scattered everywhere, Jean-Michel draws from morning until night, with a serious face, amid a storm of papers. At night, images enchant Jean-Michel's mind, and he wakes from his dreams to add one more line. His drawings are not neat or clean, nor does he color inside the lines. They are sloppy, ugly, and sometimes weird, but somehow still beautiful. His art comes from his mother, Mathilde, a Puerto Rican woman who designs and sews, cooks and cleans, and makes the house look like a stylish magazine. But most important, she lies on the floor and draws with Jean-Michel on his father's old work papers. From her, he learns that art is not only in the poetry books she reads. Art is in the street games of little children, in our style and the words we speak. It is how the messy patchwork of the city creates new meaning for ordinary things. While visiting the museum, they look at his favorite works of art. Reading the story behind each artist, reading the story behind each work, this is how Jean-Michel learns what it means to be a famous artist. Back at home, he creates art on the floor as his father plays jazz records. The energy and life of the city can be felt in each line of his drawings. As time goes by, Jean-Michel learns that art has a healing power. After a car accident, he is scared and confused. His mother gives him a book to calm his fears. Back at home, Jean-Michel's body heals, but his heart breaks. His mother's mind is not well, and the family breaks. She no longer lies on the floor and draws with him. Jean-Michel is confused and filled with a terrible blues when his mother can no longer live at home. He tries drawing the terrible out of his blues, but things are not the same. As Jean-Michel grows older, he visits his mother when he can, always bringing her artwork to show and telling her that one day it will be in a museum when he is a famous artist. A teenager now, Jean-Michel decides, "Papa, I will be very, very famous one day," with a sly look and a twinkle in his eye. He leaves Brooklyn for New York City, a concrete jungle where only the tough survive. During the day, dressed in a green jumpsuit splattered with paint, Jean-Michel stays with friends, sleeping on couches and floors, leaving a barrage of collages and poem-filled papers everywhere he goes. At night, Jean-Michel spray paints the walls downtown with poems and drawings that catch the eye of artists, gallery goers, and passers-by. Under his art, he signs the name Samo instead of Jean-Michel. Everybody wants to know, who is Samo? Samo moves from street corners to art gallery walls with powerful color composition and line, collaging and painting on anything he can find. His art is still not neat or clean, and definitely not inside the lines, but somehow still beautiful. With his magical charm, Jean Michel draws a crowd, but when it's time to work, he prefers to be alone. Now, in expensive suits splattered with paint, he flips through stacks of magazines and open books and paints into the night, and sometimes for days at a time, while sounds and images jump into his head. Jean Michel, an artist among artists, never doubts one line, creating from a soundtrack that is all his own. People describe him as radiant, wild, a genius child, but in his heart he is a king. So he draws crowns for himself and the others he admires. A grown man now, with the art world in his hands, Jean Michel still visits his mother when he can. At his most important shows, above all the critics, fans, and artists he admires, the place of honor is his mother's, a queen on a throne. He is now a famous artist. Take some time right now to think about what you notice about Jean-Michel Basquiat's artwork. What are some things that you see? For this art project, you're going to need something to draw with and something to draw on. If you are here in school, we're going to have one practice day, and then we're going to have a day where paper and some oil pastels. So let's start by drawing. What are some of the things that we saw him draw? I remember seeing lots of lines, so I'm going to start with some lines. And I remember seeing lots of letters too. I'm going to take each one of these and I'm going to pull them out and put them right back when I'm done. I'm putting some more letters. So let's see, I'm going to put a C and then put that back. And then now I'm going to take maybe a D. And then I'm going to put this back. What other things did you see in Jean? Now that I have some letters, shapes, faces, and lines, I'm going to start coloring in my artwork. If you're using oil pastels, one of your fingers and blend in the parts that you colored in. You'll want to wash your hands. If you're not using oil pastels, or if you want to try something, regular crayon also to color in the rest of